Let's face it, overthinking is a parasite that feeds on your time, your energy, your sanity. It impacts every area of your life, your business, your bank account, your relationships, your health, your sleep, and everything in between. It's that little voice that won't shut up, convincing you that every decision is life or death, every mistake is catastrophic, and every thought needs to be dissected in 1,000 different ways and overanalyzed until you really lose your mind. Well, fuck that. Today, we're not here to tiptoe around the problem or sugarcoat a solution. We're here to demolish the mental prison you've built and hand you the keys to free yourself and let yourself out of that damn cage. So, if you're ready to stop letting your mind run the show and start taking control, you're in the right place. Let's get to it, baby. If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash-making advice. Now let's get to it. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your abundance, your relationships, and everything in between. Now, I need you to get your phone calendar out, open it up. You need to open up August 28th, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. I am doing a one-time only free live training event teaching you how to showcase your offers so that they are a must-buy for your people instead of a someday option. This is so you can set yourself up to stack a consistent flow of cash and clients in your business during the peak online buying season of the year, which is coming up quicker than you can even imagine. September 15th through January 15th. This is where hundreds of billions of dollars in sales are made online. And don't you want a micro slice of that pie? I sure hope so. And I'll be teaching you my simple, straightforward, and proven 3-part art formula that I've used to generate hundreds of millions of dollars for thousands of clients worldwide. I've taught this in over 79 different industries, and I am paid at a minimum from corporations $27,000 to do this training, and I'm giving it to you for free. Why am I doing this? Because I was once where you were at. And I believe in the law of reciprocity in paying it forward. So you're not going to want to miss this. It's live on Zoom. There are only 500 spots for the live. Everyone who registers will get access to the replay for a short period of time before I charge for this training. So prioritize it. Come back to the episode. You know what to do. If you're watching on ProjectME TV here on YouTube, you're able to see a view. And while it's not as flattering of light on me as your host, I wanted you to be able to see what I stare at when I'm recording episodes from the beach house. And I also wanted you to see an actual visual representation of one of my best manifestations. And if you dream of having a vacation house, living on the beach, wherever you want to wake up every day, or at least through most parts of the year, I want you to see visually what's possible for you while we're doing a mindset style episode. Because what I'm talking about in this episode today is not some basic shit that you've heard for people who overthink. We are unwell in the mind. You are my fellow crazies. Regular advice, traditional approaches do not work for those who really go deep in multi-layers of overanalyzing and overthinking to the point where you get tired of yourself and mentally exhausted even by the end of the day. Am I right or am I right? And then on top of it, if you have complex trauma like I do, you're neurodivergent, you have ADHD, you have other mental health conditions. Well, now we've got multiple levels on top of an overthinker. So you can only really take advice for someone in your life when you know that person really gets you. Your circumstances might be different. But if you know you're unwell in the mind and you've gone through a lot of shit in life, mm, probably the reason why conventional advice from basic motivational speakers doesn't land with you. It can even make you feel worse. Like, what's wrong with me? Why isn't this working? I've done this thing and that thing that this famous person said and this well-known author said. And it's because your mind isn't wired like theirs. You're wired differently. And that doesn't mean it's going to be 10 times harder for you. That doesn't mean that it's hopeless. All it means is you have a beautifully wild mind and it needs to rationalize things, process things, and shift in and out of things in a different way for it to work. And I put down all the things that I've used on myself and that I've taught to so many clients who are of similar mind on how to break free from this overthinking because it's so debilitating. And a first thing I've got to tell you, the most freeing thing that I've ever done is to stop giving fucks. Now, there's different layers to the zero fucks given zone, and I have a podcast episode that's completely dedicated to that process. I should do a follow-up version of it. It was really popular. And I didn't always have this few of fucks to give, okay? I used to give too many. All I was doing was doling out fucks. And so I would be constantly triggered and activated and reactivated. Oh my God. And that definitely compiled to a point where it really impacted my health. I almost killed myself on 2 separate occasions because of the wildness going on in my mind. And I felt so hopeless to change it. Nothing was working. I read all the things. I had the shelf help. I went to the motivational speakers events. It's not like I was sitting here like a victim. I had a gazillion years of therapy, equine therapy, art therapy, you name it. And it wasn't cutting it for me. And that's simply because there needs to be another layer to cut through the chaos of someone's mind whose nervous system gets activated like that. You've had a lot of trauma and that's stored in your tissues. And while you're doing work around it, it's not like that stuff goes overnight. And we've got to come at it from a different way. So I first want to let you know that nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong. Basic stuff just isn't going to work on you. And the good news is because your mind operates like that, you have such a unique way of looking at things in life, explaining things. And that's why people come to you for advice. That's why people listen to you. That's why people feel safe to you sharing their stuff. They don't feel judged by you. That's why you see things, hear things, feel things that other people don't pick up on. Yeah, you likely are an empath. You're a highly sensitive person, but this all stems from this big, beautiful brain of yours. But if we don't manage that mind, it will end up repelling all the abundance that you want. It will end up getting in the way of the things that you want to do in life. And you're going to just feel an overall sense of heaviness and stuckness. And I'm not about that. So getting to the zero fucks given zone, that's a journey that comes in layers. So don't think that I got here overnight or in 1 week or I had some major epiphany. It's in stages. And if you're really bored and you went through my videos and you've listened to my podcast from the beginning, you would definitely be able to see the evolution of the zero fucks given. the more I don't care about what other people think about me, what they say about me, what they're going to do, the more I stop doing the comparisonitis and should I do this and who am I to do this, the more I just say, you know what, fuck it. I only live once. I need to go for the thing I need to go for and trust my inner guide above anything else, right? My inner guide, my spirit guides, that's what I trust. And all the other stuff is ego nonsense trying to keep me stuck in place. But I have to do things every single day to check myself and keep myself in that spot. My brain is hardwired to be looking out for danger, cautious, be careful. It's all about safety and security as someone with complex PTSD, right? It's like, I need to make sure I'm safe. Well, when you're going after something new and you're doing new things in life, even if it's your dream, even if it's stuff that you want to do, you're going to have stuff come up, right? It's going to read as dangerous. It's going to read as beware, beware. So excitement, even good excitement, is going to likely ignite those parts of you. So you can overthink yourself into being stuck. You can overthink yourself into, I don't know what to post for content. You can overthink yourself in terms of your niche, in terms of any decision in your business. You can overthink yourself into not doing a damn thing, which is what your mind wants you to do. It wants you to do that so you don't do anything, so you stay where you're at, which that's where it perceives it's safe just because it's familiar. It's not vulnerable to stay where you're at and stay in the familiar. It's vulnerable to do something different. Even if you are, experiencing a lot of consequences from staying where you're at because you're not making the money that you want, you're not happy, you don't feel fulfilled, it still reads to your nervous system. That default mode is safety above all else. And so we have got to remind ourselves every single day, multiple times a day, that we're safe and it's actually unsafe to give too many fucks. And notice what hat I'm wearing right now. If you're watching on ProjectME TV on YouTube, you need to at least go over there and see some of the behind the scenes of the podcast episodes. It's worth it. I'm wearing a ZFG hat. Zero fucks given. Where do you think all that came from? Even me saying it. It's me reminding myself while I'm also reminding you, right? That's why that plays in my head. Someone says some shit to me. Someone wrote something on a TikTok I have that's gaining a lot of traction right now. And there's some nasty comments on it. And that stuff typically rolls off my back. Some of it was not very nice and kind of stung a little bit. But then immediately that little jingle came up in my head. Fucks given. So I want you to have that going on in your brain. Someone could be talking to you right in your face. You could be reading an email from a boss, from a client. It could be the inner bully in your brain. And this person's just quacking. It's a bunch of nonsense. They're just lip smacking, quacking. It's a bunch of shit. And you've got to do something to almost make yourself laugh instead of going, oh, please shut up. I don't want to hear it anymore. It's like, think about if you have a narcissist. That's what your brain is doing. It's basically a high level, sophisticated narcissist gaslighting you, stonewalling you, convincing you you're a piece of shit, using microaggressions, triangulation, all the tactics. Then even the love bombing happens with a narcissist in your brain. So if you had someone like this, a toxic person talking to you, what pisses them off the most is when they know you're not taking them seriously. It's when you laugh. When someone says some crazy shit to me, now I used to freeze because that was a trauma response of mine. And now I laugh. And wow, does that really piss people off? I laugh I'm the audacity. And I laugh and I walk away. So what would you do? Some of you go into freeze with your own brain, and I want to encourage you, let's try something else. Even if you initially get frozen, do something. Maybe you need to have Post-its everywhere that say ZFG, because do you want to continue giving your fucks away, your precious fucks away, and then they get what they want and you end up with the short end of the stick? You end up with nothing. You're fucking yourself by giving too many fucks. So that's first order of business. But just know it's an evolution to get in the zero fucks. And I just recently went to another level of zero fucks. There's probably more levels. Some people are able, because of how they grew up, they had a very supportive environment. They have a lot of cushion and supporters and people around them. They were just taught different things. They maybe aren't as sensitive. They're able out of the gate to not be as affected by it. But I also caution you with, I've coached a lot of these people who seem like they're zero fucks given. And I used to be someone like corporate Tiff appeared to be ZFG. I was not. It was an armor. It was a mask. I didn't know any other way. I wanted to be, but internally I really wasn't. The power comes when your true mind, it's real and it's a true ZFG. And energetically, people can feel it. And then you get the result of it, of the peace of mind, of it not derailing your entire day. I might get whacked around for a half a day. Okay. I might even get whacked around for a day, but it's not lasting a week like it used to. It doesn't like debilitate me as it once did. Next thing we're going to do in order to shift out of this overthinking mind, you're going to lean into it. Instead of fighting it, I don't want to think this. I shouldn't be thinking this way. I know I'm not supposed to think this way. I need to think another way, but I can't think another way. All I can do is think about this. It's like when someone tells you, don't think about an elephant. Don't think about an elephant. Don't think about an elephant. All you're going to do is think about a fucking elephant. Okay. I would rather you wear yourself out. Right. And so instead of like trying to reclaim your mind that's gone awry, I want you to dive into the chaos of it. Let your thoughts run wild, even exaggerate them. I mean, this is controversial. I probably shouldn't use this as an example, but I'm going to because I feel called to. I've had some suicidal ideation recently. So, ideation does not mean you have an intention to do it. It's more of like a fantasy. It's more of like an escape hatch. It's when my mind and my nervous system feels so overwhelmed and I want to isolate and I want to disappear. It goes into that kind of fantasy thinking. Okay. But that we still don't want, this is not a fantasy we want to have. Okay. This is not where we want to go. And I'm doing a lot of work that is focusing on my body, somatic work, actual physical work on my body. There's a lot of body stuff going on. Well, I've spent most of my life not really wanting to be fully in my body as a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. Okay. Like I have not wanted to hang out in there. And it's a lot. So, of course, I want to escape. That's also what dissociation is, right? So, dissociation is like getting into a scroll hole, binge watching. You drive somewhere and you don't even remember the drive there or where the hell you parked your car in a parking lot. You don't remember what you did last night. You're escaping from the mind that is overwhelming you and you want a way out. So, even when it comes to this dark fantasy of me escaping or me leaving this earth or me disappearing and no one knows and I go by like a tiny villa in Switzerland. This is the kind of stuff that my mind does. Okay, let's go with it in terms of thinking about it, right? Like, let's really exaggerate what that looks like a week from now, a month from now, and you really play that out and allow your mind to go there. It can help you realize that your mind is just creating noise and much of it's irrational. And by embracing this chaos, you can disarm the power of that your thoughts are having over you and see them for what they really are. They're fleeting. They're nonsensical. Like I've even started laughing. Like some of the stuff I've thought, like, oh yeah, I'm going to go live in the middle of nowhere without any of my creature comforts. And it's like, okay, I might like a middle of nowhere for like a week or two, but and it might sound amazing, but then ultimately, God, that sounds really lonely. If I'm in the middle of nowhere, there's no DoorDash, I would have to cook. And like, who would I talk to? I really like talking. I give really good phone, and you really play it out. It's not cute. Second thing. Well, it's technically the third. The overarching is the zero fucks given. So that's overarching. These are the things underneath that are going to get you there. And it's disrupting your thought patterns. This is going to sound weird. Like I said, none of these are conventional. This shit really, really works. I need you to do a physical pattern disrupt. You're stuck in chewing on something. You feel energetically stuck. You feel heavy. You're in this mode and of fear and scarcity. And you're like, I can't get out of it. I can't get out of it. Well, like quicksand, the more you try to get out of it, the more you sink. If you are a fellow person who struggles with depression, you will know that the more you try to get out of feeling depressed, the more depressed you get because it makes you feel helpless because you can't force your will out of certain things once your body and your system, your neuroreceptors are already engaged. Okay. This is why a lot of people turn to substances because it kind of not saying, and I'm not recommending that, but it can override your system, right? Like when necessary. That's why I have emergency Ativan in my purse. So if I do have a panic attack and I don't have to sit there and trying to regulate myself out of it, I can have some help if needed. But this is something that always works for me. I don't always remember it immediately, but at some point I do. So I also suggest these things that I am asking for you to experiment with, and some you might like better than others. Some you might go, this doesn't work that well on me. That's okay. I want you to I'm giving you enough of them so you can customize your own fucking overthinking, overanalyzing toolkit. And I want you to put them in a notes app and title it something like that makes you laugh, losing my mind, something funny, or even like name that part of your personality. That also helps. A little bonus tip, right? It's like, I will name the spirally side of me. I will name Fear Tiffany. My inner bully is named Susie. I have different names for depending on what I'm obsessing about, spiraling about, over analyzing about. And what that does is it detaches it from me. It makes it very clear, like, this is not Tiffany's true essence, Tiffany's higher self. This isn't my spirit. These are feelings. This is a separate entity that is temporarily invading. And it really helps separate it from it being my truth self and like my false self. Because that's not really who you are. It's it's a response to all the shit in the world and a response to stuff you're doing and not doing and thinking and not thinking. So you're going to disrupt your thought patterns. I need you to go run some dumb errands. What I mean by dumb errands is that they're ones that don't require a ton of thought or necessarily for you to have to do heavy interaction with people. So maybe it's going to the grocery store instead of having groceries delivered. Maybe it's going to fill up your car with gas. Maybe you need to go get a birthday present for someone, and maybe you don't have to get it for another couple of weeks, but you can go get it now. Something that is an easy errand that isn't going to drain you in terms of more mental bandwidth, but it requires you leaving your current environment, getting into another environment, and you being focused on something enough that it immerses you enough in that it temporarily takes you out of your brain. I've never had this not work. That's why I call TJ Maxx my emotional support store. My internationals, if you don't know what TJ Maxx is, first of all, it's worth the plane flight just to go to one, but you have to go to an elite one. You have to go to the right one. It's where a lot of designer brands will resell like stuff they didn't sell all the sizes in, or that they had an overstock of, and then they resell them at a heavily discounted price, but they're like name brands inside the store. So you're going to get a deal. Okay. You're going to get a deal. And then they have a sister store, Home Goods, that has all sorts of home decor, furniture. It's very delightful. And I'm sure you have things like this in your area, no matter where you live. I also love going to an office supplies store because I love office supplies. And I like actually going to craft type stores. Visually stimulating. It brings out your inner child. It's interesting. Even going to a dollar store can be interesting. Maybe even going and getting stuff that you can plan for like a holiday you're looking forward to, even if the holiday is kind of far out, or a birthday. Being of service to someone else is great. So, what I'll also do is I will leave my house because that's required, but I will go film content. And it's not because I'm trying to necessarily like escape through working, but my content is also my way of being of service to you. So it always feels good to be of service. And I will use what I'm going through. I don't have to share all the details, but I will use what I'm going through to inspire the content. So it helps make me feel heard, but it also feels good, like I'm doing a good deed. And you could go do other things that are a good deed. You can go visit the local animal shelter. You can go and pick up some food and toys for animals and then bring them over there. You can you can set something up and you can go to like an old folks home. Maybe it's someone in your own family. Go buy cards. Leave your house and buy cards for family members that you love, that you've just not really corresponded that much with lately, or maybe you have, but you're just doing something like cute and sweet by doing a handwritten card and getting stamps and mailing them. I'm telling you, it'll shift your brain enough to where you're not going to be on the same repetitive loop. So, this overthinking often stems from overstimulation, too many choices, too many directions, too many things. And so you might need to also, and this brings me to my next one, of limiting your decision making even temporarily. I see a lot of women really come up against this, especially moms. You're making the decisions in the household. You're making the fucking decisions on dinner, on doctor's appointments, on school stuff, on money stuff. Everyone's coming to you for it's like you're Siri. It's like everyone's coming to you. Where is this? I can't find this. And it's just too much. Your brain short circuits, then it goes into dissociation. Then you want to combust. A lot of times you'll get sick because that's your only familiar way of giving yourself permission to shut down and drown everything out. Maybe you get a migraine, you get a stomach ache. And I would rather you not have to go and your nervous system to feel like it has to go there and do a complete shutdown like an overheating phone or laptop. I used to be that person. I didn't know how to self-regulate and unwind myself from this state. So my body did it for me and I was sick all the time. And that's not fun. That actually can create even more stress and anxiety and even depression, because now you're like, fuck, now I'm sick. Now all this work's going to pile up. Now who's going to do this? Now I have to find someone to help me with this. Oh, I feel like crap. And feeling like crap, you lay around and now you're not moving your body. And I can go on and on with it. So what I want you to do is limit your decision making. Overthinking stems from having too many choices, too much input, too much output, too much going on. You need to drastically reduce the number of decisions you allow yourself to make in a day. So even if it's temporary, like you're going to wear the same fucking thing every day, or everyone is getting the same meal prepped meals for the whole fucking week. Okay. Like anything that can cut out decisions. You are outsourcing stuff and you are setting boundaries around decisions. I'm not available to make any more decisions right now. Go to your father. We're going to have to talk about this later, or I'm going to need you to come back with a choice on this. Like, you have made it where you are like the barometer in your life, and there's part of you where that feels good, and in your business it feels good. Everyone's coming to you for approval for this and check this and should I do this and da 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 da. So it makes us feel needed, right? And I get it because I'm that person for many people, but also it's not sustainable and it's too much, and it's a sneaky form of dissociating from your own feelings and your own needs and your own thoughts to be the barometer for everyone in your life and your business. So by limiting these like more trivial, like less urgent, pressing decisions, you free up your mental space and reduce that tendency to overthink. Okay. So cultivate anti-perfectionism. I want you to deliberately do some things half-ass on purpose. Okay. Now, if you're always a half-asser and you know, if you're one of those people, this is not for you. But most of you guys listening are not half-assers. You feel half-assing to you is someone else's like most perfect high performance. Okay. I know you guys. So I want you to go, you know what? I'm gonna half-ass this. I'm gonna half-ass this video. I don't need to have all the edits perfect. I'm gonna just say what I need to say in an email and send it. I'm not gonna sit there and like reread it and craft it a million times. You know what? I'm just gonna make this choice, and I'm not gonna pull all my friends and family in my life. I'm just gonna say fuck it, and I'm gonna do it for once. This exercise trains your mind to accept imperfection and reduces the pressure to overthink everything in pursuit of an impossible ideal. Because overthinking is a form of control. You're thinking, if I overthink this and I chew on this and I look at A, B, C, and D and I come at it for every which way, I am minimizing any potential threat of security, of a danger of bad things. But what ends up happening when you overthink, overproduce, overanalyze, over anything, overgive, is you end up repelling the abundance because your energy is so drained. You become resentful of people, places, and things. And you end up in this spot where it all feels so hard, which is the opposite of abundance. And then it keeps doing this self-fulfilling prophecy that everything is hard, everything is so heavy, everything's so much work, everything requires me. I'm so busy all the time. How could I possibly have more when there's no more of me to give? And it's all coming out of this constant fucking chatter. So I want you to embrace that, you know what? Zero fucks given. I am putting this out just as it is. I'm not saying to be sloppy and not have attention to detail, but we have something here that we say behind the scenes on Team ProjectME, and you're going to experience that if you are making the move and coming to my once a year, 2-day in-person mastermind experience. And you can get all the details by going to projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind. Remember to sign up for my free live training. It's a one-time only thing. And you can sign up for that at projectmewithtiffany.com/special training. You can swipe up. The link is in the show notes. It's also in the description here on Project Me TV on YouTube. It's in my link in bio on Instagram and TikTok at Project Me with Tiffany. Make a damn move. But something that we say behind the scenes here is there's always a way, which there always is a fucking way. There really is, unless you don't believe there is. And the other thing that my team will hear me say when we look at something a couple times, we review it, we've tested the tech, I'll go, we're fine. It's good enough. And it's usually because I catch myself or one of us catches ourselves on the team where we're like, Okay, now it's the law of diminishing returns. We've spent too much time over analyzing this, too much time reviewing it, too much time nitpicking it. And is that really going to generate us more income? Is that going to generate more clients? Is that going to help more people? Is that going to make our lives easier? And if the answer is no, we let it go. And you guys let us know. There's a typo, there's some shit not working. You guys let us know. We know that we're doing the best we can, and that's enough. And perfectionism is not doing your best. Perfectionism is an activity of scarcity and fear that if it's not perfectly perfect, that there's going to be more danger, more consequence for you. And this is the opposite. I need you to start taking contrary action on this stuff. Okay. Last thing I'm going to do, because I don't want to overwhelm you with too many tools. If you're loving this episode, you can take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, Facebook stories, share it on TikTok, and tag me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Let me know that you love the episode. Leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. You can only do written reviews still on Apple Podcasts, which really, really help the show grow. And I read each and every one of them. You can tap the 5 stars on Spotify, leave a comment here on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. That really helps. And if you want a part 2, I have more tools, but I don't want you overthinking and overanalyzing the tools if I give you too many. So here's the final one. Turn overthinking into a game. Everything is a game in life. All the social media is a game. Business is a game. Managing our health is a game. Dating is a game. It's all some kind of a game. And we're just here in human flesh playing it for who knows how long. We don't get to determine completely how long we're here, right? So we don't know how long we're playing this game. And our job is to be able to stay in the game, manage the game, learn the game, advance in the game, use the game to our advantage. I want you to create a thought limit for the day. For instance, give yourself 10 tokens in the morning. And each time you catch yourself overthinking or in a spiral or having your fear thoughts, you lose a token. And when these tokens are out, you've exhausted your thinking allowance for the day. Basically, the tokens represent fucks. And you need to start with a specific number. I have 10 fucks to give. And then you'll start going, someone pisses you off, someone cuts you off on the road, you get a nasty comment, some inner bully thought enters your brain, your judgy auntie says some bullshit to you. Is that really worth you giving a fuck away to it? Because you only have 10. I think 10's a lot, actually. I'd rather you guys, I think 10 sounds like a lot, but some of you give so many fucks. Maybe 10 isn't that many to you. It's all relative. I start with, I have 5 fucks to give every day. That's it. My rule of 5 fucks. Is this worth one of my fucks? For example, right now, the air conditioning repair people have blown me off 3 days in a row. This is the 4th day. Do I know if they are going to show up today? I do not know this. And is it worth me stressing and obsessing over these motherfuckers showing up and doing their job? This is not worth a fuck. That's not me giving more fucks isn't going to increase the odds of them coming. All it's going to do is diminish my brain power, my bandwidth, increase my cortisol, and be all negative impacts on me. Did I give too many fucks to this week? As I turned into a sweaty hobgoblin here with how freaking humid and hot it was at the beach here. Normally it's not humid here. That's like one of the beauties of Southern California, but it was one of those weeks. Yes, I did give too many away and I paid a price for it. So I regrouped and they get none of my fucks. So period, end of story. So I want you to take a look at when those fucks run out. You've exhausted your thinking allowance for the day. So this playful approach will make you more aware of where you've been giving your energy. Is it worth it? Makes it more discerning, but not in a self-blame way. Oh, I know I shouldn't care so much about this. I know I shouldn't let people get to me. I know I shouldn't be so bothered. I don't like that because that's shaming yourself. And now you're depleting yourself further by shaming yourself. You are likely also a highly sensitive person, an empath. You're also reactionary because of about a million different things, childhood stuff, being overstimulated in the world. So we don't need to shaming ourselves and guilting ourselves is not going to get you anywhere near abundance. It's going to deplete you further. And is that really worth giving one of your fucks away to do that? I would say no. Most things are not worth your fucks. Now, I want to end with a couple things that are worth your fucks. It was worth my fucks that I was having suicidal ideation. That was worth going, okay, that is a major flashing check engine sign. And I need to reach out to my therapist. I need to reach out to my coaches. I need to make sure I have extra support and to work through this. If you're not feeling well, right, like your body is signaling that you're exhausted, you attending to your needs, you're overheating, that's worth a fuck. You have someone very close to you that it's not like this is someone who's always struggling and it's this victim-y person. Like, one of your people, your core fucking people, they're struggling. That's worth a fuck. Something your kid needs, worth a fuck. You've got a fire drill going on in your business because that happens in business, right? That's part of owning a business. That, whether you like it or not, that's going to take some fucks and it's worth a fuck. Okay. But the rest of it isn't. When we really analyze and take an inventory of our day, most of the stuff we take in isn't worth it. Is it worth you being activated and giving up fuck tokens, being stressed out about politics, being stressed out about this, that, or the other, you not fitting in your jeans, your skin looking like crap, that you heard someone say something about you? It's not, it doesn't help you. It doesn't get you where you want to go. In fact, it's holding you back. But you are the one who has to use the tools in the toolkit. I can provide them to you. Hopefully, I've conveyed them really well and I've given you unconventional ones that actually are like, you know what? I'm going to do those. And I would love to know. Put in the comments here on YouTube, DM me on Instagram or TikTok at ProjectME with Tiffany. I want to know, like, what are you using? How many fuck tokens are you starting from the day? What are your activities you're going to do to break out of that pattern? What are your dumb errands? I want to hear all of this. And if you want a part 2 on this with more tools, I'm happy to do so. I just need to see the feedback. In the written reviews on Apple Podcasts is the ideal place. And you guys shouting out this episode on social media and tagging me. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. And there are 3 main ways. I'm holding up my hand and I have 4 fingers up. So we know where I'm at today. There are 3 main ways for you to work with me on a deeper level. 1, my upcoming one-time free training. You need to absolutely do that on August 28th. ProjectMeWithTiffany.com/special training in the show notes. Second thing is, this is the holy grail, the highest level way to work with me, coming to my 2-day in-person mastermind event. This is going to sell out. Okay. We have just opened this up to the public. It has been opened up to my community, but now it's opened up to the public where we have ads going to it. So this is going to sell out. So don't blow it off. At least go look at the page, ProjectMeWithTiffany.com/mastermind. And the third thing is my famous ProjectME Posse business coaching membership. Hello. We have a summer special going on right now. So you choose the annual option. You get 2 months for free, my Nail Your Niche masterclass for free, and my content creation made easy course bundle for free. So you get $1,000 of high level luxe free stuff by choosing that option. Now, if you're a commitment phobe, you can do the month to month option. That's also there. So there's a reason I have both, but optimally, and you want to actually signal to the universe, I'm going all in, I'm doing the damn thing, I would absolutely select that annual option. And that's ProjectMeWithTiffany.com/ProjectMe Posse. All the links are in the show notes when you swipe up. They're all in the description here on YouTube. Just make a damn move, because staying in inaction just breeds more inaction. When you're in motion, money moves, the energy moves, your abundance moves, opportunities come to you, things shift, get out of being stagnant. This is where everything in your world changes. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.